Hello and welcome to Mr. Tompkins EdTech. Today we will be taking a look at class notebooks made in OneNote. OneNote offers an excellent way to share your course notes and resources with your students in an organised way, which is simple for you to create and also easy for you and your students to navigate and find what you're looking for. Now, OneNote class notebooks can also be used by students to do their own work, which the teacher can review at any time and can mark and give feedback on without the need to physically collect in their books. I see this as phase 2 of your adoption of OneNote, and I will be covering it in a separate video, which I'll upload and link as soon as I've finished it. Today's video covers phase 1, which is getting started with using OneNote as a tool for sharing your course notes with your students. Specifically, we will be looking at orientation, how to open class notebooks and move around the various sections and what each section is used for. Create, we'll be looking at creating new pages directly in OneNote using a range of drawing and writing tools available to you. Import, we'll be looking at the different things you can embed in a OneNote page and how you can bring in resources you might already have in PowerPoint or Word or on PDF. Organize, we'll be looking at how to organize your notebook in a logical way so that you and your students can easily navigate and find what you're looking for. So if you're interested in getting started with OneNote class notebooks, then keep watching. Don't forget to like this video if you find it helpful, and consider subscribing to my channel so you get notified of new videos I bring out on using Office 365 to support you in the classroom and also with remote learning. First up, orientation, and we should probably start with the different versions of OneNote available to you. If you're PC based, there are actually 3 versions of OneNote that you may or may not be familiar with. I'm going to be using OneNote for Windows 10, which is the version available via the Microsoft Store and has an icon that looks like this. Out of all the different versions, this one is the best, and all the cool new features arrive on this one first. Now there's also OneNote 2016, which was part of the Office 2016 package. This version is no longer being updated, and if you are new to OneNote, I would recommend skipping this one and using OneNote for Windows 10 instead. Finally, there is OneNote Online, which is the web app version of OneNote, available through Office 365 via the waffle in the top left-hand corner of any Office 365 page. And it's also the version you'll find embedded in your groups within Microsoft Teams. Like all the web apps, this is the light version, so don't expect to find all the tools that you have available to you in the full client versions. Also, there will be a bit of a lag navigating through the notebook and opening different pages, as the content of your notebook is not kept synced locally, but it's fine for making small changes and for quick and easy access. The fact that there are 3 different versions of OneNote out there does cause some confusion, but my advice to newcomers is to go for OneNote for Windows 10, and for more seasoned OneNote users, that it's time to kick OneNote 2016 to the curb and make the switch to OneNote to Windows 10. It's where all the magic is happening. So you've been to the Microsoft Store and downloaded OneNote. What now? Well, first up, you need to realize that OneNote by itself is just a nice note-taking app. What makes it special is the class notebook tools added to it, and we need to make sure these are turned on in the app. So go to Options and make sure class notebook tools are turned on. And this will add an extra ribbon to OneNote with a bunch of extra tools. If you like to be at the bleeding edge, you might also want to turn on the experimental features while you're at it, which currently adds nice thumbnails to your pages. Okay, so now what? Well, again, what we have here is just a normal OneNote notebook that would have been added as a default when you first installed the app. This is not a class notebook. A class notebook is a souped up, custom built OneNote notebook on steroids, intricately designed and built specifically for you and the students in your class. You can't even actually create one here in OneNote. To do that, you must go over to Teams. Now, I've already made a video on how to set up a class notebook in OneNote. So if you haven't done that already, pause this video and go and watch this one first. It will guide you through using the setup tool in Microsoft Teams that will create the class notebook for you. It will make all the various sections and apply all the correct privileges for your students in your group to see it and use it. It doesn't take very long, and once you know what you're doing, you can easily create a new one in about 30 seconds. So now you've created your first class notebook, let's look at the various sections that have been created and talk about what they do. Each section has its different rules about who can see things inside it and who can edit those things. First up is the collaboration space. This is like the Wild West anarchic free-for-all where teachers and students can all see what's inside, make new things and make changes. This place terrifies me and I normally switch it off, which I'll show you how to do in a moment. You may think of times where this might be useful, for instance if you've got students that you want to work collaboratively on one document, but I personally don't use this section very much. Where I do spend most of my time hanging out is the content library. This is the ordered place of goodness where everything is as it should be, as only I, the teacher, have the rights to make changes. Students can see everything in here and they can make copies of the pages and they can put them in their own areas, but they can't move, delete or change anything. So this is where I keep and curate all my resources for teaching this course, and I try to structure it in a logical way that fits in with how I'm teaching the class. Next up, we have a whole bunch of folders, one for each student in your class. They're each named after that student and are usually shown alphabetically by first name, which is a bit confusing for teachers as we normally go with alphabetical by surname, but there you are. Now, students can only see their own folder, not anybody else's, but have full rights to their own folder and can create, change and delete anything within it. As a teacher, I can see all the students' folders and also have full read-write privileges, so I can create new pages for them or write comments over any of their work. The final section is the teacher-only section. This is not added by default. If you want it, you need to go and turn it on yourself. Go back to Teams, tap on the Class Notebook tab in the class where you want to create the section, tap on the Class Notebook ribbon and then tap Manage Notebook. This will take you to an options screen for the class notebook, which will allow you to turn on the teacher only section. This is also the place to disable the collaboration space, so while you're here you might also want to lock this off. You can always come back and unlock it again if you actually want students to do something collaboratively. You'll also find the link to the class notebook here, which is useful to give out to students so that they can find it for the first time. Alternatively, you can show them how to launch it for the first time via Teams. This video shows how to do this on an iPad, and I normally give this out to the students when I first introduce them to the class notebook. Okay, so coming back to the class notebook, we can see these four main areas: the collaboration space, the content library, the folders for each of my students, and the teacher only folder. Now, inside each of these four main areas, you can create different sections. Inside each section, you can create as many pages as you like. Each page can be as big as you like, and you can scroll as far down as you want or as far to the right as you want. Now, the pages you can create in OneNote are a lot more free-form than a Word document, and you can create a text box by clicking anywhere on the screen and just starting to type. Or you can paste things in wherever you want. It's more like a scrapbook or a flip chart style page, a bit like ActiveInspire or Prezi if you've ever used either of those. And you can stick just about anything you want anywhere and then move it around really easily. OneNote also has excellent drawing tools with a great range of pens, pencils, highlighters, shapes, and the rather lovely rainbow pen. There's a ruler too, which is very responsive and easy to use. If you have an interactive whiteboard in your classroom, or even better if your laptop supports a stylus, then you can get a lot of joy out of these tools, and you can easily use OneNote instead of your whiteboard software. I used to use ActiveInspire flipchart software that came with my Promethean whiteboard until I discovered OneNote, but then I've totally switched over and now I use OneNote for everything. If you're thinking about making live lessons with your class via Teams, then OneNote also makes an excellent whiteboard for that. This video shows you how you can create live lessons in Teams and how to share your desktop and use OneNote as your whiteboard. Now you can easily copy and paste images directly into OneNote, or you can click them from a web page or any other app really easily. I don't know if you've discovered the new shortcut key combo, which is Windows, Shift and S, but this is great for taking snippets for pasting directly into your OneNote page. As well as pictures, you can paste links to YouTube and Microsoft Streams videos, and these will appear as a playable window, so you can watch videos from right within the OneNote page. There are a bunch of other things that will do the same thing. I'm a maths teacher, and one of the things I use a lot is GeoGebra, and you can paste a GeoGebra link in, and again it will activate and you can use it as a manipulative right within the OneNote page. You can record and embed an audio clip, which is great for teaching languages or for providing personalized feedback to students. There's also a fully functional equation editor that you can use to type in complex formulae. You can easily bring over any existing content you've made in a different format. For common file types like Word, PowerPoint and PDFs, I highly recommend using this printout tool. This will paste an image of each page directly onto the OneNote page, and will also add a thumbnail at the top that will open the original file back up again. Really quick and handy to use. You can also use the attach file option that works really well with PowerPoints, creating a fully functional slide viewer complete with forward and back controls. For less well-known file formats, if you can print it, you can stick it in a OneNote page. Just open whatever you want to include in its native application, select print and use the print to OneNote printer destination. This will spool the printout directly into OneNote, where you'll get a pop-up box asking you where you want to put it. Choose the destination, and again the printed output will appear as images embedded in a OneNote page. Okay, so how should you organize your course notes within the OneNote structures already described? Well, firstly, you'll want to create a class notebook for each of the different classes that you teach. So you should do this first. First set each one up and then open them all up one after the other for the first time as described in the previous video. Once you have all your various notebooks open, they will remain open in OneNote even after you close the application. So the next time you open up OneNote, all of your open books will still be here ready to use. Now you can choose between your books by tapping here. This shows you all the open books, and you get a More Notebooks link at the bottom of the list, which will show you any recently opened notebooks. So if you should accidentally close a notebook, you can reopen it again from this list. The Add Notebook link at the bottom of the page is for creating new notebooks, but this will be the boring old normal notebooks and not the cool, awesome, exciting class notebooks you can make via Teams. So it's not really something for you to use, unless of course you want to make yourself a master notebooks and then copy each of your completed section over to it as a bit of a backup. As a teacher, you should be putting all of your notes and resources into the content library. This will mean your students can see and read the notes, but they can't change them or delete them and cause any other mayhem. If it is time-sensitive material, for instance a test that you're going to give them next week, rather than putting them into the content library, create it in the teacher-only section first, and then you can move it into the content library when it's time for the students to access it. I tend to use one page per lesson, so we'll try to create a OneNote page which contains all the resources for that lesson, arranged in a sequential way that I'll follow in the lesson. You can give each page a name. I tend to number them, lesson L1, L2 for lesson 1, lesson 2, etc. so students can easily locate the page I'm on for the current lesson. You can reorder the pages in each section really easily. You can just drag them about. Now moving pages and even sections is really easy to do as well in OneNote. For pages, you can cut and copy them by right-clicking on the file and selecting this from the context menu, and then paste them in the new section where you want them to appear. The sections within the 4 main areas you can create by clicking this Add Section button here. How you name these is dependent on how you run your course. I tend to either go with half terms, so a section for each half term or semester, which in the UK is normally about 6 weeks of teaching, or I might go for topic names, depending on the number of topics there are overall. So if there are lots of short topics, I tend to go for half-termly sections, but if there are fewer larger topics, I'd use one section per topic. It doesn't really matter, you can make whatever system works best for you and your subject. If you need another layer of organisation, you can right click down here on the new section and it gives you the option to create a section group. This allows you to cluster sections together. I might use this if I'm carrying on with a group for a second year of teaching, and so then I might group all of the first year's sections together as one section group. You can move or copy entire sections from one area to another, or even between two different open notebooks. Just right click on the section and tap Move Copy. You'll get a pop-up window that will then help you navigate to the place where you want to move it, and then you can click Move or Copy depending on what you want to do. Okay, so you've created your books, added some structure with sections, and have made a bunch of pages for your various lessons. If you want to find content quickly, OneNote has a powerful search tool that can locate every occurrence of a keyword across multiple notebooks, sections and pages, and will give you a list of matches almost instantaneously. Now these matches will be found not only in the printed sections, but also if the word appears in a scanned image, even if it has been handwritten somewhere in a photograph or drawn on the page using digital ink. This is amazingly powerful and makes OneNote a fantastic companion to students using these notes for revision or as a source. So we've looked today at how we can organise a OneNote class notebook as a tool for sharing our course notes with students. I mentioned earlier that I consider this to be phase 1 of adopting OneNote into your working practice. For some teachers, this might be as far as they take it. If so, then that's great. You've got yourself a fantastic tool for organising your resources, handouts, flip charts and worksheets all in one place, giving access to all your students electronically and saving you from having to email out work or print out worksheets and handouts, and providing students with a searchable knowledge bank that they can use whilst they are learning and revising. Pretty cool. Phase 2 is when you start getting your students to do their work in OneNote too. Students can each use their own section of your class notebook to do their classwork, homeworks or assignments, allowing you oversight of their progress whenever you wish to take a look. I'll be covering this in the next video, so if you found this one useful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel by clicking the red button below and clicking the bell. That way you'll get notified when I next upload a video. Check out these other great videos on using Office 365 tools in your classroom or in your remote learning setup. Stay safe, keep your hands clean, and I'll see you on the next video.